So, fuck you, Joe Biden.
Why are people suddenly so mad at Joe Biden for pardoning his son? Let's take a closer look at the evolution of his past remarks that allowed him to justify not enforcing the same laws he once advocated for when it comes to his own kid.
Now today, more videos of Hunter Biden's antics have come to light. Many of them are simply too obscene to play here or even to describe. This guy, for reasons I'll never understand, films himself doing the creepiest things, including arguing with a woman about the size of his crack stash.
No, I just laid out the bag. It's 2.06.
2.07 without the bag.
How long is
2.0.
According to Joe Biden, that's the smartest man he knows. Yes, he really said that. And talking about the big guy, remember what Joe Biden said about those who are found with even a small amount of crack.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, $1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation, you get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice.
These statements are from his 1993 speech pushing for a crime bill that would soon have devastating effects on people who were struggling with addiction and likely needed help, not punishment, for decades to come. Take a listen.
So that bill that he was vociferously arguing for is a bill that locked up countless non-violent drug offenders. So many lives were ruined because of his insane position, hardcore right-wing, law and order, tough on crime stance, which, again, ultimately this wasn't focused on, violent offenders or something. It was non-violent drug offenders. And look at the language. Take back the streets. Their background and what happened doesn't matter. This is super predator type language. He said there are predators on the streets. Hillary had said super predators. They have no conscience. And probably the worst part of all is the last part where he says we can't focus on rehabilitation. Rehabilitation, we just can't do it.
If that wasn't bad enough, watch how Hunter Biden himself speaks about his addiction that he was never punished for, but instead was allowed to focus on rehabilitation.
But Hunter, who was kicked out of the Navy Reserve after failing a drug test, grappled with substance abuse for years. He sought and got help in rehab, but in time he fell off the wagon and deeper into the abyss.
You would wake up some mornings, I shouldn't even say some mornings because you slept for like 15 minutes at a time, and be looking for crack and just smoke whatever was there?
Yeah, I spent more time on my hands and knees, picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know, I'm sure, Tracy.
Because there'd be crumbs mixed in and you just...
I mean, I went one time for 13 days without sleeping and smoking crack and drinking vodka exclusively throughout that entire time.
Wow. During this time of drug abuse, Hunter Biden would go on to commit 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors, finally potentially facing some serious consequences. His father, Joe Biden, who is now president, was asked if he would pardon his son, essentially rescuing Hunter from any real punishment.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No. I just said no. I just answered.
When would the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear and I said no.
You've said before that the president would not pardon his son. Is that still the case?
Nothing has changed. That is still the case.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. I said I abide by the jury decision.
I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
I could speak for the president, and he said he would not pardon his son.
Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Now here's where the plot thickens and hypocrisy begins. As Joe Biden enters the last days of his presidency, he does the unthinkable, or to some the expected. Shall we say daddy to the rescue?
The president issuing a full and unconditional pardon to his son Hunter after repeatedly insisting in public that he wouldn't do it. And to defend his decision, the president adopted an argument that could have come straight out of Donald Trump's playbook. Blame your political opponents and claim unfair persecution. President Biden said this, quote, "The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election." President adding, quote, "No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. And that is wrong," end quote. President Biden pardoning his son not just for the gun crimes for which he was convicted and not just for the tax crimes for which he pled guilty. Instead, Biden gave his son an extraordinarily sweeping pardon for any and all crimes he committed, may have committed, or even merely been involved in at any point in the last 10 years.
I think you understand by now why people are outraged by the current president's actions. Well, it must be nice to be a president's son, huh, Hunter? Let's end the video with this.
5 years minimum, but I guess that was for the poor kids in the projects, not the entitled fail son of a US Senator, Vice President, and now President.
So fuck you, Joe Biden, and your sob story about your rich, spoiled presidential kid, Hunter Biden, and how he's been singled out, because I know I speak for millions of people who have an addict in their family who did something they're not proud of, who could never get out from under it. We have no sympathy for you, Hunter Biden, and even less for you, Joe Biden, because you enabled all of it.